Tefillas השחר, דף כ"ז עמוד בייס, the whole story of Tefillas Arvis Reshus or not. Says the Gemara starts in the middle of the page by the line that begins with the word Besha Besave. Zog the Eileke Gemara. The Gemara brings down from the Mishnah, Tefillas or Erev Ein Lo Keva. The Davening of Ma'ariv, it says in the Mishnah that Ein Lo Keva. Frag the Eileke Gemara, Ma Ein Lo Keva? What is the meaning of the word Ein Lo Keva? So the Gemara gives a choice. If you're going to say that if he can daven the whole night, literally, so that cannot be the meaning of the word. Why? Listening, the Tana should say clearly Tfilas Erev Kol Halayla. Why did he say the word Ein Lo Keva, which is different? And for the Eileke Gemara, Elomai Ein Lo Keva, what is the meaning of the word Ein Lo Keva? Kiman de'omar Tfilas Arvis Reshus. To mean, to say like the opinion that says that Tfilas Arvis is optional. What does it mean? The Omar Avido Omar Shmuel Tfilas Arvis Rabban Gamliel Lo Omer Choyvet. That's a must. You have to daven Ma'ariv. Rabbi Shua Omer Reshus. Rabbi Shua says it's optional. And I just want to clarify that what does it mean optional? Not that you don't have to daven Ma'ariv. Period. It means that if you have something else and to do another mitzvah, that if you don't do it now, it won't be done. Then it's Tfilas Arvis Reshus and you don't have to daven. Omar Abaye Alocha Kedivra Omer Choyvet. The Alocha is like the one who says that Arvis is a must. Rebbe Omar Alocha Kedivra Omer Reshus. Rebbe says that Alocha is like the one who says that it's optional. Now the Gemara brings a long story, who stretches out till almost the end of the next Omud Daf Chav Ches Omud Aleph. Tonu Rabbanon, we learned in a Braise. Maise beTalmid Echad. There was a story with a Talmid that the Gemara later on is going to say his name. Sheba lifnei Rabbi Yeshua. That came in front of Rabbi Yeshua. Omar Loi, the Talmid told Rabbi Yeshua, Tfilas Arvis Reshus or Choyva. Is davening Ma'ariv optional or it's a must? Omar Loi Reshus. Bo lifnei Rabban Gamliel. So the Talmid came in front of Rabban Gamliel and asked the same question. Omar Loi, Tfilas Arvis Reshus or Choyva. Omar Loi, so Rabban Gamliel told him, Choyva, it's a must. So the Talmid now respond to Rabban Gamliel, Omar Loi, V'lo Rabbi Yeshua Amar Lishu Reshus. Bishua told me that it's optional. So what's going on? What do I have to do? I have two opinions. Wait till the Talmid Chachomim who argue in Aloche are going to come to the Beis Medrash. Why they call them Balitrisim? Because Balitrisim means people who carry shadows. They are protectors. When you go to war, you have protectors. So Talmid Chachomim who argue in Aloche are the protection of the Eden. So wait till the Balitrisim, the Talmid Chachomim, going to come to the Beis Medrash and ask you a question again. כשנכנסו Balitrisim, when the Talmid Chachomim went in, עומד השואל ושואל, the Talmid got up and he asked, Tfilas Arvis Reshus or Choyva? So עומר לו רב גמליאל, Choyva. עומר להם רב גמליאל לחכמים, כלום יש אדם שחולק בדבר הזה. רב גמליאל told the Chachomim, is there anyone that disagrees in this opinion? Omar le Rabbi Yeshua loy, love. Rabbi Yeshua told him, no, nobody, everybody agrees with you. Omar loy, so Rabbi Gamliel told Rabbi Yeshua, how can you tell me that you don't disagree? I heard from your name that I was told that you hold Reshus. Omar le, so Rabbi Gamliel now is responding in a very strong way against Rabbi Yeshua. Yeshua amoid al raglecho, Yeshua get up, stand on your feet, and people will witness against you that you really said that it's Reshus. Rabbi Yeshua stood and he said, if I would have been alive and the Talmid who asked the question would be dead, the one who's alive can deny the one who's dead. But now that I'm alive and he's alive, so a person who's alive cannot deny the person which is alive. That means, since the Talmid is alive, I cannot deny that I said Reshus. And there's a beautiful pshat, maybe if we'll have time to explain it later on, what was really going on. What Rabbi Shah says that he was a liar, he can deny him. Let's continue the story. Oyo Rabban Gamliel Yoshev Adoyer, Rabban Gamliel was sitting and darshaning. Rabbi Yeshua was standing on his feet, continuing to stand on his feet because he didn't get permission to sit down. Till everybody got angry, got upset. And told Chutzpis, the translator, Amoid, stop to Yudrosh Shevomad. What does it mean? In those days, the Rosh Yeshiva, the Nasi, used to say a few words in the ears of the Turgemon, the ones who translate, and he used to give it over to everybody. So they told Chutzpis, the translator, who explains the Gemara, explains the learning, to stop Vomad. Now they're going to do something about this suffering that Rabbi Yeshua disrespected Rabbi Gamliel did to Rabbi Yeshua. Amri. So the Chachamim says, At kamen etzare v'neizel. How much can Rabbi Gamliel continuing to go and upset Rabbi Yeshua? Why? This is not the first time. The Rosh Hashanah, Ishtaka, the Rosh Hashanah, last year, Tzarei, Rabbi Gamliel made them upset because they argue when exactly Rosh Hashanah is, as you're going to look in Maseches Rosh Hashanah. B'choros is B'maseh the Rab Tzadok, in the Gemara, B'choros in the story of Rab Tzadok, regarding a Kohen Uda Baal Mum, is he reliable to say that he made a Mum to a B'choyer? Tzarei, again, there was an argument and he did exactly the same story. Here in our story, he also made him upset. So therefore, since he disrespected Rabbi Yeshua, was a big Talmid Chacham, was very old already, since he upset Rabbi Yeshua, Tov and Abri, let's pass him out from being a Nasi, let's do somebody else. Now, so they all agreed to do that. Now they're going to start looking for a new Nasi. Man noikim lei, who should we appoint instead of him? So now we have choices. Rabbi Yeshua, should we appoint Rabbi Yeshua to be the next Rosh Yeshiva? Can be. Why? Baal Maisu, because that's the story is happening with him, and it's just not going to look right that you got rid of Rabbi Gamliel and you put Rabbi Yeshua. Choice 2, Nukmel Rabbi Akiva. Let's appoint Rabbi Akiva to be the next Rebbe, to be the next Rosh Yeshiva. Also not good. Dil Me'onishlei. Maybe Rabbi Gamliel, because he's going to get upset, he will punish Rabbi Akiva. Now, it doesn't mean that Rabbi Akiva will punish the Rabbi Gamliel will punish Rabbi Akiva, it means that true, because Rabbi Gamliel will be upset, the Rebbe will see it and will affect Rabbi Akiva in a negative way. Elo, rather, Nukmel Rabbi Loza ben Azariah. Let's appoint Rabbi Loza ben Azariah. Why? Because he has a lot of qualities. One quality, the Chacham, he's a big Talmid Chacham. Next quality, the Rosh is also rich. The Wasir Ezra in his 10th generation of Ezra Sefer, which is a big quality. And the Gemara explains what's so special about this quality. Because if anybody will ask him a question, especially Rabbi Gamliel will continue asking a question, he's going to be able to answer. And he's also rich. If he has to deal with a king, with the Romans, he can go deal with them because you need money to deal. You need to bribe them. You need money to deal with them. For Asir Ezra and his 10th generation Ezra, the Islis Chus always. He has married, he has Chus from his, that he has special parents. Therefore, I'll protect them if Rabbi Gamliel will not cause them a punishment if Rabbi Gamliel will be upset. Also, so they came to Rabbi Loza ben Azariah and told them, do you want a rabbi? Do you want to be the Rosh Yeshiva? Let me go speak to my wife. So he went and he asked his wife, should he accept it or not? Now we're turning to the page of Chavches Omud Aleph. So his wife told him not to accept it. Why? Maybe they'll pay, the same way they threw Rabbi Gamliel from being a Nasi, they'll find something fault with you and they'll throw you also. He told her is a phrase that a person can use a very expensive glass crystal cup, even though the next day will break. Meaning, I'll be a Nasi one day, and what happens after that? It's irrelevant. So she find another reason not to accept it. Less lo chivroso. You don't have white hair, and it's not proper for a Nasi, for a Rebbe to look someone is so young. The Gemara says that day that they had the discussion, Rabbi Loza ben Azariah was 18 years old, so he was quite young. And a miracle happened to him. And came to him 18 lines of white hair. Now he looks like a choshev person, like a very big Talmid Chacham. And the Gemara concludes, and this is what Rabbi Loza ben Azariah, and it's also brought in the Agoda. I am like 70 years old. Why Rabbi Loza ben Azariah? I'm like, it's either you are or you're not. He didn't say I am 70. Why? Because he only looked like 70, but he was not 70. Just to bring a note, that the Mefarshim says that he was a Gilgul of Shmuel Hanavi, and Shmuel Hanavi lived 52 years old, and Reb Elazar ben Azariah was then 18, so 18 plus 52 is 70, that's why it says, Arayani ben shivim shana. Ben is 52, together, it would have ben of 52 is 70. The Gemara continues. Tono, that it says in the Braise, Oiso Ayoim, that day Silku L'Shomer HaPesach. They got rid of the guard of the Besmedrash. There was a guard. V'nisna loim tal reshus letalmidim leikones, and everybody, all the talmidim were able to get in. Why was there a guard? Rabban Gamliel machis v'oim, because Rabban Gamliel used to announce when he was the Nasi, called Talmid Shein Toicha Keboroi. Any Talmid that is inside is not like he's outside, meaning he comes to learn Torah, but he doesn't have Ira Shemaim, he doesn't have fear for Hashem, like honest Bes Medrash. He cannot go into the Bes Medrash. Therefore, now they took away the guard. Now everybody can get in. Doesn't make a difference if you have Ira Shemaim, because the Torah is going to affect you. Now, how's the guard knew how do the guard know who is the who has an Ira Shemaim, who does not? So some Meforshim say that it was a Malach. So they got rid of it. Ahu Yoima, that day, Nitois for Kama Safsili, and they added a whole bunch of benches because they needed a lot of Talmidim to learn. Omer Rabbi Yochanan says, Pligibo, Abba Yosef ben Dostai v'Rabbanon. Chachomim and Abba Yosef ben Dostai argue how many benches were added. Chad Omar, one guy said, Itoisu Arba Meyo Safsali. They added 400 benches. Chad Omar Shva Meyo Safsali. They added 700 benches. Rabban Gamliel saw that so many people came to learn. His mind got weakened, meaning he got upset. Omar, he says, maybe I didn't allow to people to learn Torah because I put a guard and I stopped them. So the Rebbe showed him in a dream, white barrels full of ashes. What I mean, the dream comes to show him that all the Talmidim were not good Talmidim. The inside was ashes and white, and the outside was a beautiful barrel. But the Gemara concludes on that dream, Veloi, it's not true. The Talmidim were very good. So what was the dream? Vai, and that dream, they only showed Rabban Gamliel that in order to calm him down, he should not be upset. Tono, it says in the Mish, it says in the Braise, the Gemara continuing the story. Eidios, Maseches Eidios, Boy Bayoim Lishnis was learned that day. Whenever it says the expression Boy Bayoim that day, Ahu Yoim Ave was the day that Reb Elazar ben Azariah became the Nasi. Because there was so many Talmidim, they were not left even one halacha that it was hanging. They didn't know what to do with it. They didn't explain it, and everything was clear. And even though, and even Rabban Gamliel did not stop himself coming to the Bes Medrash, even for a little bit. That shows that Rabban Gamliel was an honest, emistic person. How do we know that Rabban Gamliel came to the Bes Medrash that time? That time we learn in Mishnayos, Boy Bayoim, on that day, Boy Yehuda Ger Amoini, Yehuda, there was a ger from Amoin, Lifneim bebeis HaMedrash. She came in front of the Chachomim to Bes Medrash. Omar Lohem, he told the Chachomim, Mo ani lo eva b'kol. Am I allowed to be part of the Jewish community? Why? Because it says in the Torah that lo yovay amoini u'moyovi b'kal Hashem, because amoini, people from Amin, are not allowed to be part of the Jewish community. Omar lo Rabban Gamliel, osaratu lo eva b'kol. Rabban Gamliel told them, you can't. Omar lo Rabbi Shua, Rabbi Shua again, here is another disagreement. Mutar lo eva b'kol. You're allowed. Omar Rabban Gamliel, so Rabban Gamliel told Rabbi Yeshua, I'm going to prove my way. Amoin and Moyovi are not allowed to come to be part of the Jewish community, so how are you allowing? Omar Loi, so Rabbi Yeshua told, Omar Loi Rabbi Yeshua, so Rabbi Yeshua told them, the people of Amoin and Moab are still in their place, they didn't move out. Why? Sancheriv, the king of Ashur, came up, and mixed the whole world. He took people from this place and moved them that place, and nobody knows where he came from, except the Jewish people. Shenema, v'osir, it says in the words of Sancheriv, in the Novi Yeshaya, v'osir gvuloi samim, I will take the borders of the nation, v'asudoiseyem shoishatin, I rob their treasures, v'oirit ka'abir yoshvim, and I'll bring down those who are sitting high, I'll bring them down. So we see that he totally mixed up the whole world, and nobody can say he's Amoini. So therefore, Yehuda that came from Amoini is not really Amoini. So therefore, the halacha that you're not allowed to come to be a Jewish person doesn't apply to him. B'chol de parish, and anybody who removes himself from a place, Beruba parish, he comes from the place where most of the world, since most of the worlds are not Amoini, so Yehuda is also not Amoini. But Ram Gamliel did not give up. Rabbi Gamliel told them, it says another pasuk, I'm going to return the Golus of the people of Ammon, and that's the promise of the Rebishter. And since it's the promise of the Rebishter, obviously they came back. So if they came back, so the Yehuda is an Ammoni, so it does apply to him. Rabbi Shua told them, no, I'm going to bring a pasuk the opposite. It says that I'm going to turn the Eden from the Golos, and didn't come back. So since the Eden didn't come back, so what's the proof that the people of Ammon came back? So miyad, right away, they allowed him to come back to be part of the Jewish community. So that's one argument that Rabbi Shua actually won, defeated Rabbi Gamliel. Gomorrah continued to stay in the story. Omar Rabbi Gamliel, Oil ve'ochiave, since we see that Rabbi Yeshua happens to be, he can show that halacha is like him, and I bothered him for no reason, I was not nice. Ezil v'afaisi, let me go and appease him. Ezil v'afaisi Rabbi Yeshua, let me go ask him sorry to Rabbi Yeshua. Kimot lebeisei, when he came to Rabbi Gamliel, came to Rabbi Yeshua's house, chazinu la'ashayahu, he saw the base of the meshachon. He saw that the walls of the house of Rabbi Yeshua was black. Omar Lois, Rabbi Gamliel told them, from the walls of your house, it seems like that you are a blacksmith, that you deal with coals. Omar Lois, Rabbi Yeshua told them, meaning it's just too bad to the generation that you are the leader. Why? You don't know the suffering of Talmid HaChachamim. B'mei mispanesim u'b'mei nezoinim. What parnasa do they have? What livelihood do they have? What food do they eat? You're totally not in touch with reality. Omaloi, so when Gamliel saw that he shouldn't, sometimes you should not say anything. Omaloi naneisiloch, you're right, I spoke too much. Choili, please forgive me. Lo yashkach bei. So Rabbi Shua didn't care for it. So Rabbi Gamliel told him back, Ase b'shvil, please do in the respect of my father. What was his father? His father was one of the Asora Aruge Malchus, the 10 people that got killed brutally by the Roman kingdom. Pious, so Rabbi Shua accepted and he forgave him. So now that they forgave, so we can put everything back together. Omru, so the Chachomim, they were there together with Rabbi Shua. Who should go and tell the Chachomim in the Beis Medrash that everything can go back to normal? It was a man, a laundryman told them to the Chachomim, and no Azlino, I will go. Now why a laundryman? So the Meforshim says to show a laundryman makes everything clean and new. So the same thing in the story, everything is erased, everything from the back past is erased, and everything is fresh and back to normal. So now, Shalach lo Rabbi Shua b'Medrash, Rabbi Shua sent the following message to the Beis Medrash, which as a message. Man de lo vashmado, il vashmado. Whoever is used to wear the coat, like the coat of the Nesius, they used to wear a special coat for the being a Nasi. Il vashmado, continue wearing the coat. The meaning, man de lo ilo vashmado, and whoever is not used to wearing the coat, meaning which Rabbi Lozer ben Azario, Yeimar leman de lo vashmado, is it appropriate to say to the one who's usually wearing the Nasi coat, Shlach matchu v'ano elbeshei, take off your coat and I'll wear it. It just doesn't make sense. So for sure you should make Rabbi Gamliel back to be a Nasi. So when the guy came with the message to the Beis Medrash, Omer lo Rabbi Akiva Rabbanon, Rabbi Akiva told Chachomim, Truku Gali, lock the doors of the Beis Medrash. Why? Because they were afraid. What? The servants of Rabbi Gamliel should not upset the Chachomim to try to force people here. So now they can continue, they can make the peace. So they went back to the house of Rabbi Yeshua. So Rabbi Yeshua says, Mutter of the Eikum ve'izul anola gabay. It's better I should go and tell the Chachomim that to put everything back to normal. Also Torah Fababa, he came, he knocked on the door. Omar lehu, and then he told the Chachomim the Beis Medrash. Another phrase that from that is the message. We know that a Kohen is making the spritzing of the Pora Adumo when somebody is tummy. So Maze ben Yaze, a Kohen, the son of a Kohen, will spritz. That makes sense. But somebody who doesn't, he's not a spritzer, not a son of a spritzer, meaning he's not a Kohen. Yoimer lemaze ben maze should say to a Kohen, the son of a Kohen, mei mecho mei meoro. Your water that you're spritzing is water from a cave which is not suitable. You're not suitable for Pora Aduma. Why? Because you need mayim chaim, you need the well water. And your ashes that you're using is ashes from regular fire, but not from ashes from the Pora Aduma. Since it doesn't make sense to say it, a regular person cannot tell a Kohen how to spritz. So also the same thing, somebody who's not from the family of the Nasi is not appropriate to tell him not to be the Nasi. Omar Rabbi Akiva, so Rabbi Akiva told them, Klum osinu elo b'shvil kvoitcha. Didn't we do all these things for your respect that we got rid of Gamliel? Lemochor, the next day, now that you forgave him, lemochor ani ve'alto nashkim lepischoit. Now the next day, you and me, we're going to go to the house of Rabbi Gamliel to tell him that he's back into the Nesis. Omri, now the Chachomim are, now they're having a problem. Can they get rid of Rabbi Loza ben Azariah? It's not appropriate to get rid of him also completely. Omri eichen avid. Now Abrei, should we take of Rabbi Loza ben Azariah from the Nesias? Gemiri, we know it's a Masoira from our parents. Malim HaKodesh ve'meridim. A person is elevated to Kedusha, you can't just throw him away. So Rabbi Loza needs to be a Rosh Yeshiva also. So that's not a good choice, to complete eliminate him. Choice 2, Nidrosh Marchad Shabbat or Marchad Shabbat. If one of them will give the special drosha one Shabbos, and the other one will give a special drosha the next Shabbos, also no good. Why also lekanuye? Because they come to be jealousy, and therefore it's not. Rabbi Gamliel was a much higher level than Rabbi Loza ben Azariah. Hello, what are we going to do? Lidrosh Rabbi Gamliel close to Shabbos. Rabbi Gamliel should give the drosha 3 weeks. Rabbi Loza ben Azariah Chadash Shabbat, and Rabbi Loza ben Azariah will do for one Shabbos. And that's the meaning of the Brais who says regarding something else. When people used to talk to each other, they used to say Shabbos Shel Mi Yoisu. Whose Shabbos was it? Whose time was it to give the drosha? And people used to answer back Shel Rabbi Loza ben Azariah. So there was the Shabbos of Rabbi Loza ben Azariah to give the drosha. And now the Gemara concludes the story. The Oisha Talmud is the Talmud that asked the question if Tefillah Sarvis Rashus Oichayva Rab Shimon ben Yochai, he was Rab Shimon ben Yochai. Now, what was the reason that we don't know who the Talmud is till the end of the story? So I'm going to say in short, and why? What is the meaning that Rabbi Yeshua says that I'm going to deny what the Talmud says if he will be dead. So I'm just going to say in short. The point is that Rabbi Yeshua ben Yochai had special powers. If he would daven Ma'ariv, he would bring Mashiach right away, like just bring a note, like in the story of Rabbi and his children with Rabbi Yehuda Nossi, when he put him to be Chazonim. So therefore, when the Talmud came and asked Rabbi Yeshua, should I daven Ma'ariv? So he says, to you, it's Reshus, because he was afraid that the time of Mashiach did not come yet, so he was afraid to let him. But he says, when it came to the Besmedrash, for everybody else, it's Choyva, like Rabbi Gamliel says, Shkoyach.